This is the Randi Rhodes Show. To speak with Randi, dial 561-270-3844. That's 561-270-3844.
So I have to say there was no question that she won this debate, but now they're saying, well, there's no question that she won this debate, but will it affect the election? Will it? I mean, come on. It's not, this is not normal. He's not normal. The answers he gave last night were not normal. The lies he told were not normal. The eating of the dog. You know, it's very interesting that he brought up dog eating when he's just gotten on the same stage with Robert F. Kennedy Jr., who literally was going to eat a bear. He was going to eat it. He literally picked up a dead it's a baby bear. It was a little baby bear. And he was, he put it in his car. And then he decided he would go to Peter Luger instead and have a steak. But the bear was still dead in his car. And he understood he was going to Peter Luger. And he couldn't leave the dead bear in his car because it would stink. It would smell. And so what did he do? On his way to New York City, he took the dead baby bear and he ditched it in Central Park, leaving everyone for the last 10 years to wonder, how did a dead baby bear end up in Central Park? And then he confesses that it was him who done it to Roseanne Barr on social media. Saying, and Kristi Noem shoots dogs in the face. What is with these people and their love of animal cruelty? I just, honest to God, how is it a question in anybody's mind? Look, I get that there are some people that are dyed-in-the-wool maggots, and they wish he would be better, and they wish he wouldn't lie about, losing the election, which he did, and they wish he would, not lie about, COVID was a hoax, and every other lie that he told yesterday, and every other lie about millions are coming over the border, millions. We have had no months with millions of anything happening. It's the, and that we're a nation in decline. He keeps trashing his own country. That under the Inflation Reduction Act, there was an opening of 50% more gas fracking and oil leases during Biden's time in office than during Donald Trump's time in office. So, I mean, the idea that oil and gas exploration and oil and gas production in this here country has increased by almost 2 times what it was under Donald Trump because of the Inflation Reduction Act. Donald Trump has no idea that he's talking, what happened. He doesn't know what policy is. He has no desire to learn what policy is. I mean, he wants to talk about immigration, okay? But we all know that he killed the immigration bill. It wasn't even an immigration bill. It was a border security package. It had nothing to do with immigration or immigrants. It had nothing to do with Dreamers or DACA or paths to citizenship. None of it was mentioned in the bill that Langford and Murphy and Sinema negotiated together. None of it. It was all about asylum judges. It was all about more Border Patrol agents. It was more about, it had money for more detention beds. It had money for, but how dare he? How dare he use immigration because it was a good performer for him in 2016? Because in 2015-16, when he was running, he promised he was going to solve it. He said he was going to build a wall. Mexico was going to pay for it. It would solve the whole border problem. How could he come back 9 years later after he was president for 4 of those years and say we have the problem? It makes no sense when you just say it like plainly. But I will tell you what the cherry on the cake of the night was. Taylor Swift. Cherry on the cake of the day. Okay, Taylor Swift, which we were all hoping would happen, actually did endorse Kamala Harris last night after the debate. And the reason she did it was, pretty multi-pronged. It wasn't just one thing. It wasn't just, oh, she did great in the debate, or, oh, she's so brat, or, oh, she's a badass, or, oh, she's... No. it wasn't just that she is a skilled and steady, brilliant leader. No, it had to do with the stunt that Donald Trump also pulled, where his campaign, using AI, actually tried to propel, and did propel, into the wider world a meme that was generated by artificial intelligence that implied that Taylor Swift had endorsed Donald Trump. Well, that was untrue. It was an AI-generated meme. It wasn't anything to do with reality or truth. And at the time, I thought maybe Taylor Swift would be, outraged by it, and she would, endorse. She withheld. She withheld pending this debate. And then she endorsed because she said...
Folks across the country got to see a president for all.
No, that was... here's this.
I don't think you know about this, but this was just posted online by a woman you might have heard of whose name is Taylor Swift. And she has posted this online along with a photo of her cat. And I'm going to read to you what she just posted. Quote, like many of you, I watched the debate tonight. If you haven't already, now is a great time to do your research on the issues at hand and the stances these candidates take on the topics that matter to you the most. As a voter, I make sure to watch and read everything I can about their proposed policies and plans for this country. Recently, I was made aware that AI of me, quote, me, falsely endorsing Donald Trump's presidential run was posted to his site. It really conjured up my fears around AI and the dangers of spreading misinformation. It brought me to the conclusion that I need to be very transparent about my actual plans for this election as a voter. The simplest way to combat misinformation is with the truth. Then she says, quote, I will be casting my vote for Kamala Harris and Tim Walz in the 2024 presidential election. I'm voting for Kamala Harris because she fights for the rights and causes I believe need a warrior to champion them. I think she is a steady-handed, gifted leader, and I believe we can accomplish so much more in this country if we're led by calm and not chaos. I was so heartened and impressed by her selection of running mate Tim Walz, who has been standing up for LGBTQ plus rights, IVF, and a woman's right to her own body for decades. I've done my research, and I've made my choice. Your research is all yours to do, and the choice is yours to make. I also want to say, especially to first-time voters, remember that in order to vote, you have to be registered. I also find it's much easier to vote early. I will link where to register and find early voting dates and info in my story. With love and hope, Taylor Swift, signed Childless Cat Lady. I have to get your response to that, Mr. Governor.
All those things, I am incredibly grateful, first of all, to Taylor Swift. I say that also as a cat owner, a fellow cat owner. Look, Swifties, you heard it. We know that it's there. That was eloquent. And it was clear. Yep. And that's the type of courage we need in America to stand up. We've seen it out of those Republicans who were at the DNC. Yep. We've seen it out of women who would like to have their own personal lives kept personal, but are forced to go out there because they nearly died because they can't get abortion services in a pregnancy. And now you have somebody like Taylor Swift coming out, making that very clear. This would be the opportunity, Swifties. KamalaHarris.com. Get on over there. Give us a hand, get things going.
So, it may seem like a little, fluffy thing, something very pop culture-y. And yes, it's true, it is. However, she has 253 million followers on Instagram, number one. And number two, when Oprah Winfrey endorsed Barack Obama, some of you may have been there with me that day, I knew Obama was going to win the election because it was Oprah. And I now know that Kamala Harris is going to win the election because it's Taylor Swift. And because it wasn't She's So Brat. And because it wasn't done in a self-promoting manner at all. It was done to encourage her loyal Swifties to go do a little bit of research, to maybe watch this debate the way she watched this debate, to educate themselves just a tad about the things that they care about, which might be reproductive rights. It also might be, unions. It also might be tips. It also might be, student loans. It also might be the future of health care. It also might be the future of elder care. And their solution on the other side is ask grandma to do it for the babysitting. And childcare is very inexpensive, and we don't need to tackle that problem. And abortion is better left to the states. See, the people are going to vote on it. It's not a guaranteed federal right anymore. And so, you know, a 34-year-old girl in this country has less rights than I had. When I was an estrogen-bearing being, I'm still an estrogen-bearing being. But honestly, you know, I think the way that she presented it, the way that she did it was Oprah-esque. It was a high level of endorsing. It was not casual or thoughtless. That was the cherry on the cake of the day. So Kamala kicked Trump's ass, and Taylor took out the trash. Beautiful. Now let's go win this thing.